What's up guys, welcome back. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be testing my Rugged Obsidian 45 suppressor with the Griffin Armament EZ-LOK attachment system. So my Rugged Obsidian 45 was actually the very first suppressor that I purchased and eventually took home all the way back in 2018. I did a ton of research on it, was excited to try it out, and honestly it lives up to the hype. It's very quiet both with 9mm and 45 ACP. The modularity works great, and it's been a really versatile and dependable suppressor for me. Unfortunately, one issue that has sort of plagued the Obsidian 45 for a while now is that they're kind of prone to walking off or essentially unthreading themselves from the host firearm slowly under recoil, which typically results in end cap strikes but can also result in baffle strikes. Fortunately, I've never experienced a baffle strike, but I have had multiple end cap strikes with my Rugged Obsidian when it was unthreading. Now, I do have to give a huge shout out to Rugged's customer service. They are honestly fantastic, and they've sent me multiple replacement end caps and helped me a ton with troubleshooting the issues that I was having. Now, typically the best way to counteract this is to use some Teflon or plumber's tape on the host firearm's threads to prevent the suppressor from walking off, but even that wasn't always foolproof. So ultimately, that's resulted in me not shooting a ton of suppressed pistols because I was nervous about damaging the suppressor, and even when I did shoot, I was constantly checking the suppressor tightness after every 5 to 10 rounds. Fast forward to 2020, Griffin Armament released an innovative system called CAM-LOK. It's very similar to 3-lug that's commonly in use on pistol caliber carbines. It offers a very quick attachment with basically just a quarter turn and also a much more secure attachment than simply direct threading. Now, it seemed like a great system, and I still believe it is, but I purchased it in December of 2020 and almost immediately over-torqued it and damaged the threads on the device. Thankfully, Griffin Armament also has great customer support and replaced the parts for me right away. It seemed to work pretty well after that, but again, I was still just a little bit nervous about using it because of that initial experience. Alright, fast forward again, now to late 2021, early 2022, and Griffin Armament released another product called EZ-LOK. And honestly, it's brilliant. Essentially what it is an adapter that you install on your host firearm's threads that replaces them with coarse tapered threads. And you purchase a Griffin Armament piston that matches it, and now you can attach your suppressor using a proven and effective method of attachment that has very little chance of walking off due to the tapered threads. But honestly, in my opinion, that's not even the brilliant part. The brilliant part is that instead of making you buy a Griffin suppressor to take advantage of this innovation, they make pistons for Rugged, Silencer Co., Dead Air, AAC, and CGS, effectively covering the biggest manufacturers out there. That's seriously brilliant and a great service that Griffin is offering for the suppressor industry. Now, the EZ-LOK system offers several advantages. There's the obvious advantage of a more secure attachment, which is particularly intriguing for owners of a suppressor like the Rugged Obsidian that has had well-documented issues with walking off and getting end cap strikes with standard direct thread setups. It's important to keep in mind that this isn't unique to the Obsidian. Any suppressor can slowly walk off the threads under recoil and have point of impact shifts or even baffle strikes, so the increased security of the tapered thread attachment is definitely huge. But beyond that, they make EZ-LOK barrel adapters for 7 different thread pitches. So instead of having to swap out pistons constantly in your suppressor to attach it to a different host firearm, you can just install an EZ-LOK adapter on each of your host firearms, essentially converting them to a universal thread pitch, and then you can switch between them immediately without any modification to the suppressor once the EZ-LOK piston is installed. And finally, this even applies to different calibers, so you can swap from 45 ACP to 9mm and back again without swapping pistons in your suppressor. It's truly a fantastic, convenient, efficient, and secure innovation to suppressor attachment. I'm very excited about it. So for me personally, I basically went all in on EZ-LOK earlier this year and bought an EZ-LOK thread adapter for all of my 9mm and 45 ACP suppressor hosts. But with that said, I've actually only put 20 to 30 rounds down range with it so far, so today I'm really excited to test it more thoroughly and see if it's really everything that I want it to be. As you can see, I've got a variety of hosts that I brought here with me today for testing. Got a SigSauer P226 Legion with an RX slide and a Silencer Co. 1/2x28 threaded barrel. Got a Sig P320 RX full size with a Silencer Co. 1/2x28 threaded barrel. Got a CZ P10F optics ready model with a primary machine 1/2x28 threaded barrel with a tin coating. Got a CZ SPO1 tactical, and finally I have an FNX 45 tactical. So the first 4 I mentioned are 9mm, and this last one, the FNX 45, is chambered in 45 ACP. As you can see, they all have the Griffin Armament EZ-LOK adapters installed, and my Rugged Obsidian suppressor has the EZ-LOK piston installed and ready to go. The adapters themselves are installed using a 3/4 inch socket wrench torqued to about 22 foot-pounds. No Loctite is needed or even recommended, and they can be removed again using a 3/4 inch socket wrench for cleaning if needed, but it's also not necessary to remove them for basic cleaning. Now, Griffin Armament will often point out that EZ-LOK is not quite as fast as CAM-LOK, but it's still a lot faster than direct thread by quite a bit. When you're attaching the suppressor to your host firearm, you don't need to torque down super hard, but you do want to tighten to a minimum of 13.75 inch-pounds of torque, at which point you should feel a slight squish indicating the tapered threads have engaged and locked the suppressor in place. Again, this should be a much more secure connection than traditional direct thread installation. So to give you an example, here's what it looks like to direct thread a suppressor onto 1/2x28 threads. This happens to be a 22 suppressor on a 22 pistol, but it's very similar and should give you a good idea. You can see that it takes several turns and several seconds to install. Not a huge deal, it is what it is, and it kind of gives you a little bit of that action movie feel too. But then under recoil, the suppressor can slowly begin to unthread, causing issues with accuracy and possibly damaging the suppressor. Now, on a 22, suppressors walking off isn't as common because of the minimal recoil and the fixed barrel, but most centerfire handguns use some sort of tilt barrel style action, which requires a booster or Nielsen device in the suppressor to help the firearm cycle. There's a lot more pressure there and significantly more recoil, plus the movement of the barrel itself, and all that makes it much more likely the suppressor could walk off on you while you're shooting it. Now compare that to EZ-LOK, it goes on much faster, which I just consider a bonus more than anything, and then once it's on there, it's really really tight, and in theory, due to the tapered threads, it's not going anywhere. So it's much more secure, much safer for your suppressor investment, and it's peace of mind for you as the user. So today what I want to do is put some shots through all these pistols with the Obsidian 45 attached and see if it stays put without walking off, and see if I can get through a couple hundred rounds without any end cap strikes. Now if it's going well and I'm feeling brave enough, I might even try to shoot 30 rounds to one of these hosts without even checking the tightness of the suppressor. Hopefully I don't regret that, but you know, we'll see. So as you can see right now, we're starting off with a brand new perfect looking 45 caliber end cap, so we'll continue to check that as we go, make sure that we don't get any strikes. All right guys, that's enough talking. Let's go shoot some suppressed pistols and have some fun. So guys, to start out, I just want to demonstrate how easy it is to swap between host firearms. So I've got 5 rounds ready to go for each of my guns here. I'm going to attach the suppressor to each one of them one at a time, load up 5 rounds, fire, and then swap to the next one. So let's get going here. We'll start with my CZ P10F. Okay. That was good attachment. Okay. All right, now the SIG P320. Get the optic on here. Okay. Good solid attachment again. Now we'll do the SIG P226. Get the optic on. Okay. Okay. Again, nice solid attachment. Go to the CZ P01 Tactical. SP01 Tactical. This is one of my favorites. No optic to worry about here. Okay. And now, again, really solid attachment there. Now, we're going to switch calibers. So we're going to go to 45 ACP. My FNX 45 Tactical. Okay. All right. Again, solid attachment when removing them from all 5. Did have to break them free. Let's take a look at that end cap. End cap looks good. Suppressor's getting a little warm, so something to keep in mind. 9mm and 45 subsonic rounds, not as bad as something like a rifle, but it's good to have an oven mitt or one of these fancy silencer shop oven mitts that they provide. All right, now let's just do a little bit of shooting. So guys, to show how cool suppressing a pistol really is, I'm going to do some demonstrations here, unsuppressed versus suppressed with both 9mm and 45. We'll start with 9mm using my CZ SP01 Tactical. 3 shots unsuppressed into the dirt. Okay. Now we will attach the Obsidian 45. And we'll do 3 rounds suppressed. So you heard a little bit of first round pop there. That first round was a little bit louder, and then the gases get inside the can, and then that makes it quieter for follow-up shots, which is really, really cool. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing with the FNX 45 Tactical. We're going to show 45 ACP unsuppressed and then suppressed using the Obsidian 45. Here's unsuppressed. Okay, didn't lock open, that's all right. All right, now we will attach the Obsidian 45 and load in 3 more rounds. 45 suppressed. Pretty cool. All right, now just for a little bit of fun, we're going to do a comparison between these different suppressor hosts. We're going to start out with the CZ P10F. Going to fire 3 shots, slow fire, suppressed, and I'm just going to cut seamlessly between all 5 hosts that I have here today so that you don't have any unnecessary distractions. All right, so let's start off with the P10F. All right, guys, this is it. This is the big test. I've got my SIG P320 full size here with 3 magazines loaded with 10 rounds each. I'm going to attach the Obsidian 45 suppressor, and I'm not going to touch it for 30 rounds. I'm going to load them each one at a time, shoot through them, and then we're going to see if it walked off at all, and we're going to see if we get any strikes. You can see here, hopefully, I do not have any strikes. The end cap is beautiful. You won't be able to see it, but I checked the baffles. They look perfect. So hopefully I don't regret this test. Let's see how this goes. Just start off, get it attached, give it a good twist. All right, first 10 rounds. Oop. Okay, first 10 good. Had 1 round not fully go into battery. Not the fault of the suppressor. Okay, it's 20 rounds. See how we do after 30. Okay, that's 30 rounds, guys. I'm still hitting plates, so I think we're probably good. I'm gonna do something here. I'm sure it's pretty hot, so I'm gonna take the oven mitt. I'm gonna try to loosen it very lightly. It's not moving, guys. Tell you what, I've got 2 more here. 30's great, but let's go for 50. All right, see how we do here. Not bad. Okay, that's 40. All right, big money. Let's go for 50. All right, guys, that's 50 rounds. Let's see how tight it is. Guys, it's on there tight still. That is awesome. Guys, I used to have to check the tightness of my suppressor after even just 5 rounds, 10 rounds, and it would often be walking off, especially with this gun. For whatever reason, these Silencer Co. half by 28 threads had a tendency to walk off with this suppressor. I definitely got some baffle strikes with this suppressor using this as a host firearm before. This is awesome, guys. It is still on there. And so I did just break it loose. It wasn't too difficult to get off, but it was on there firmly, and this is the big moment. Let's see if we have any strikes. Beautiful, guys. It looks excellent. This is awesome. I'm thrilled with this EZ-LOK setup, guys. This is fantastic. All right, fine. That's enough gushing. Let's just do some more shooting. How about that? All right, guys, there it is. A very successful range day today with the Griffin EZ-LOK system on the Obsidian 45. I put 250 rounds through this suppressor today using the EZ-LOK system. What are my thoughts on it? Well, I'll tell you what, my very first thought on it is that I'm absolutely thrilled that my 45 caliber end cap is perfectly intact. That is phenomenal. So honestly, I gotta say, I am extremely impressed. It's easy to switch between host firearms. It's very fast to attach, much faster than direct thread, and it's way more secure than direct thread has been on any of my host firearms. In 250 rounds fired, I didn't once feel like I needed to tighten the suppressor more to be able to get a secure lockup. That was further supported by the fact that every time I went to remove the suppressor to attach it to another host, it required a decent amount of force to release the suppressor from the tapered threads. Of course, the biggest test of all, we went 50 rounds on the SIG P320 full size without having to tighten the suppressor once. I am blown away by that, guys. I can't tell you how good that makes me feel and how much more confident I am to shoot pistols suppressed now. It's really a huge innovation and a huge piece of security for these very expensive investments that are NFA items. They come with a very long wait period as well. No one wants to wait a whole year for a suppressor, pay their tax stamp, and then thread it on and have a baffle strike or an end cap strike in the first session. That's just an awful experience. I really think that this EZ-LOK system from Griffin Armament is a fantastic answer to a lot of the problems that people have had with suppressing pistols. I really don't have too much more to say about it, guys. It is awesome. I absolutely love it. I fully recommend it. It can be a little bit expensive if you have a bunch of hosts to get all of the barrel adapters and the pistons for your different suppressors, but in my opinion, it is very much worth it for the peace of mind that it provides. Let you just have fun at the range instead of worrying about how tight your suppressor is after just a few shots. So yeah, guys, this EZ-LOK system from Griffin Armament is a huge thumbs up from me. I absolutely recommend it. Love it. Can't wait to shoot these pistols more. That's going to be all for today, guys. We got a lot more content coming up, including more AKs, ARs, handguns, and shotguns. Remember to like and subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned, and thanks for stopping by.